So, you want to buy a new car to replace your existing car? Short answer, no, don't do it. No, I'm serious. Don't do it. I've got great reasons. Starting with the first one. If you've bought a car which is 2, 3, 4 years old, well, it's not really old. Cars today are engineered to a very high level. They are very robust. They are meant to last for lakhs of kilometers. In which case, if you've spent 3 years with a car and done 40, 50,000 kilometers, it's just about gotten going. And even if you have clocked more, let's say 60, 70,000 kilometers, and you're worried that, now the bada kharcha will start coming, which could be like, let's say, a clutch change or a suspension overhaul. Well, that's part and parcel of a car's life. And if you spend that money, you practically have a car that's all new and would be far cheaper than actually going out and buying a new car. Now, I know that doesn't sound very exciting, but I have a second reason which might make more sense to you. If you bought a car in the last 3 to 5 years, you've bought a car that's pretty much at the pinnacle of automotive engineering. Because there was a time when cars were, well, not all at the same level, and we were making strides with every new generation. Every couple of years, the experience of a new car would get better and better compared to the older cars. But if you have a car that's 3, 5 years old, you've got a car with a very high baseline, which means the experience when you go and buy a new car today isn't going to be dramatically different. It could be different in terms of the features on offer, and I understand that those can be a draw. But a lot of the functional features are things that you could add back to your current car without too much of a hassle, like reversing camera, very handy. A touchscreen infotainment system, useful. And you could also get things like upgrades in terms of seat covers. You could get mats for your cabin to give it a new, fresh look. And you could just overhaul the car by way of giving it a nice spa treatment and get it detailed properly to give it that new car feel. Third, and a big reason to postpone your purchase decision, if you can, is that we are at the cusp of a new generation of technologies, be it flex fuel, EVs, hybrids, strong hybrids. So in some time, you'll have a lot more options to choose from, which will be new drivetrains, which will be new ways of doing things, and you'll have a better idea of what fits you. And the second thing being, when these technologies come about, like we're already seeing, the cars will be more expensive. So you could use the time that you save right now with your current car to save more money. And that can be handy then, because they will be more expensive. And fourth, if you're buying a new car, well, you don't want to buy a car in the same segment. You don't want to buy a car in one segment above. You ideally want to go couple of segments above. For instance, my wife, she's driving an Ignis, and if I were to get her a new car, a Swift wouldn't really be much of a step up. Getting to an i20 or maybe a Seltos, that would feel different and special and worth it for all that extra money. And like we said, cars are getting more expensive. So if you want to spend, go for something that does feel right and will feel right for the next 5, 7 years. So when you're upgrading, think about making a significant step. Another way you could do that is by changing body styles, going from a hatch to an SUV or to a sedan, or the other way around. Then, just for the enthusiasts out there, it's often an assumption that whatever's latest is the greatest. But when it comes to engines, as they're straddled with more emission tech, they do get restricted more. So a 1.2 liter engine, which was, peppy and zesty a few years ago, may not feel the same way in the latest guys. And that does happen. It's a very gentle degradation in terms of the liveliness for the sake of better emissions, but it does happen. And I know some of you are going to say that, yeah, you're getting a car for the cleaner tailpipes, but disposing of a properly functional car for the sake of getting something else that's cleaner or has no tailpipe emissions, isn't exactly ecologically sensible either. So yeah, these are things that you need to think over. I think those were 5 points, 5 strong points. And if you've thought about those, I'll give you one last exercise. Write down a small note, like a classifieds, as to who should buy your car and why they should buy your car, what makes it great, a message you would send out amongst friends, a personal message talking about the car and how it's been and why somebody should want to buy it. And along with that, you could include a message about why you're choosing to sell it. 2 things will happen. One, you might realize that actually the car still works for you. Or you might realize why you need to actually get another car. There are a couple of scenarios where getting a new car makes absolute sense. Like if you've been with a manual and you need an automatic if you're in the big city, I get it. If you need a bigger vehicle with more space, I get it. 3 rows of seats makes absolute sense. You have an old car without ABS, airbags, and you want to get something safer. I get it. You might even want to get a car just to pamper yourself. You want something that's a step up, that feels like an upgrade. I get it. If you want to get a car for any of these reasons, go for it. As for everybody else, if you're thinking of upgrading, be clear why you're upgrading. And if you've answered all those questions, run through all those points, and still choose to go ahead, all the best. Enjoy. Let us know what you went for. Thanks so much for watching.